Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is a AC compressor and it is stock. Stock and came out of this vehicle. You see, 1993 Mitsubishi 3000 GT SL, and it is standard transmission. So remember, my 17-year-old, he owns this car right now, and so several weeks ago, it was making a noise, and then it burnt up the clutch. The clutch is damaged. Again, it's because this is a 1993 and then this is the original. So the clutch is damaged, and as a result we didn't have AC, and then you can see all this carbon buildup, or just the clutch burned. So what they did, we were able to find one on eBay for $250, very cheap, and it was actually new from a guy who bought one and to replace, but he never replaced it. So he sold it to us for $250. And my son, 17-year-old, he's a senior in high school, and he's taking automotive, and he fixed it himself, all by himself. And so I asked him to record the repair, and he did. So now please watch, subscribe, and like the video. Thank you very much for watching. Okay? Thank you.
So today we are going to be replacing a AC compressor on this 1993 Mitsubishi 3000 GT SL. Now it should be kind of the same for all the generations of the 3000 GT, as they're all basically the same platform, just tiny differences. As you can see, the alternator is all the way at the bottom where these two AC lines connect, and I'm going to be replacing that bottom AC line that I'm focusing on right now, as it leaks. If you kind of look on the under tray, you can see a little dark spot. So that's what we are going to be doing in this episode. So the first thing we're going to do is be jacking up the vehicle. You want to get some wheel chocks and put them on the back to make sure the vehicle does not move anywhere, and then 2 jack stands for each side, as this car has a jacking point right in the front, right about there underneath, which we'll be jacking from. So let me get it up in the air. So now we have it up in the air with 2 jack stands on each side. What you want to do next is shake the car real good, because if it moves too much, then it's not properly sat on the jack stands, and you don't want to be going under it because that's not safe. Now we will take the wheel off. For my car, you will need a 21 mil with a little extension, and I'm using my impact gun to get them off. So now I have the wheel off. I always put my wheel under the car as a secondary safety, so if the jack stand ever fails, the car will fall onto the wheel and not just straight on the ground. Next, as you can see, we have these push clips we'll need to take out. Those 4. Then underneath we have 1, and up under this lip we have 2 12 mils that we'll take out, and this whole shroud will just come right off. You may have to wiggle it some. Now that we have the cover off, the next step will be taking off the serpentine belt. So what you'll need to do is loosen this crank pulley, or the pulley bolt, which is a 14 mil. You don't want to take it completely off, just loosen it so the pulley will wiggle around. Then on the top, see this bolt right here, that adjusts the tension. that is a 12 mil. Now you'll need a 1/4-inch ratchet with a shallow socket to get to it, and you'll just loosen that up. So I have removed the serpentine belt. As you can see, right now I am under the car. Now, this job, you can't pull the AC compressor off from the bottom. So you can see you have the bracket that holds it, and the arms stick out a lot. So in this tiny gap you have right here, the AC compressor is not going to fit through that. So we will have to be removing this radiator fan and the alternator completely out to remove this from the top. Now you can see the AC line that I was talking about that was leaking for me. As you can see, we wrapped it in duct tape, which worked for about 2 months, and then it started leaking again, but I have a replacement coming. So let's get to the top. So in order to remove the alternator, which is right here, you will need to remove this line. It's just a 12 mil right here, 13 mil right here. You come to the back, and then 2 10 mil bolts back there. Then you'll also have the, I believe, 12 mil bolt on the AC compressor, which will get this line out the way. Next is this radiator fan, which I believe are 2 10 mil bolts up top, 10 or 12. Then you have 2 more at the bottom. Then these plugs, make sure you number or label them so you put them back in the right spot. Then this will pull up. Next, you have the alternator. There is the clip on the back, then the connection point right here. Because this is another 10 mil, 10 or 12. Then you have these 2 12 mil bolts on the bracket. Then come over here, you have 2 14 mil bolts right there. Then this whole alternator will come straight up and out. Then you'll have the access to the AC compressor. So I'm going to do all that and then get y'all back when I'm at the compressor. Now, as you can see, I got the alternator out. I had to remove this hose off of the compressor, and then the mounts that holds on to the alternator or radiator, I removed those. So as you can see, the radiator can go forward more, which gave me just enough room to slide the alternator out. Now the next step, we'll be removing this AC line that's still connected. It runs under, up, then you have the bracket right there that my light is flashing on. Then you have this fitting up top that you'll loosen, and this AC line will just pop right off. So then you have the 1 bolt on top, 2 on bottom, but I'll show y'all when I get there. Now you can see I took off the other line. It was 1 12 mil bolt down there. Then I ended up removing this top bolt here. As you can see, it's kind of loosened. So I removed the 12 mil nut down there on the AC line. Then up here, I loosened this 12 mil bolt next to this black piece and pulled up and got it off the bracket. Another thing I'm doing is I'm stuffing shop towel in the lines just to make sure no moisture, like debris, gets in. Same thing with this one over here. And I also used this old tablecloth to cover up the radiator, as you don't want to hit the fins or it will damage the radiator and it won't cool as well. So next we have the 1 12 mil bolt on top and the 2 12 mil bolts on the bottom. I'm going to loosen this top one, but still keep it in place. and then take off the bottom two, then remove this top bolt, and the compressor should just pull. So as you can see, I have the alternator and AC compressor out. It was just one bolt on top and then two on the bottom. Now the two on the bottom had mud and gunk on them, so I had to take a pick and a wire brush and remove that before I could properly fit the socket on. As you can see, here is the AC compressor, and I was spinning it earlier when I took it off, and man, it just didn't want to spin, and black particles just started coming out this end. I mean, man, it was bad. But his alternator is good, so we're just gonna throw that back in it. But right now we have the new AC compressor. It comes with shipping oil, so I'll need to remove these caps off and then measure about 2.5 to 3 ounces of this and put it in here and then slowly turn it over by hand. And I have a syringe, if it'll focus. Well, I have a syringe to help accurately measure it when I put it in. So let me do it. Well, you'll probably be able to tell, but the new AC compressor is in. What I had to do with the compressor oil is take off these caps, then flip it upside down to let any shipping oil come out. Then I put about 70 milliliters in the suction port, not the discharge, the suction, which is the bigger hole. Then I had to spin it over by the pulley, and just to make sure all the bearings got lubed, and once we actually start the car, nothing inside will be all dry. So now it's just the reverse of what we did before. Put the alternator back on, then the hoses can bolt right back up, and the serpentine belt and the fans and all that. So I'm gonna get to it and I'll show y'all when I almost done. As you can see, the car is mostly put back together now. I have the alternator, the AC line, the main one, all back hooked up. As you can see down there, and I have the radiator fan in and everything torqued down. The only thing left is the last AC line that goes there, then routes under and into over there. Now I got a new AC line, OEM, but new to me since the old one was leaking. And as you can see, it is still dirty on the outside, but the inside was very dirty. So what I had to do is, you don't want to use water and soap, as it could contaminate the inside and corrode the aluminum. So what I did was I went to my local O'Reilly's and I got this AC Flush and Clean. As you can see, it has a little nozzle and hose that you put the hose into the opening. Then on top here, you have this yellow button that you press down and it will shoot it out. And it will go through the line and shoot out the other side. So I did that 3 or 4 times, while in between I shook it and I used my air compressor all the way to the max, which is about 150, and blew the line out each and every time till I got everything out. Now you also want to let the inside dry. You don't want it to be wet. So I also blew air through it for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then I let it sit for about 10 minutes. So it should be all good now. So the AC line will go in. And another thing is, now I don't, since we're replacing the compressor, you don't want to just add refrigerant. You want to pull a vacuum on the system to get all the air and moisture out, which you can buy a kit, but it's about $130 for a good quality one. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna wait till my mechanics class at school, and we have a fancy snap-on refrigerant machine. It'll pull a vacuum, and it'll also help me see if there's any leaks, because it should hold vacuum, and we will be able to hear it if it's like coming through the Schrader valve on the intakes, or if it's an actual line or an O-ring. And another thing I'm going to do is replace the O-rings on this. Now I was going to do this original line, but I didn't have the right O-ring for it, and it didn't leak from before. And since the AC compressor is new, I'll be able to tell. So let me get it all put together and back on the ground. And before I forget, you do not want to turn on your AC system. That will destroy it with no refrigerant in it. So one way to make sure that won't happen is there is a plug on the front of the AC compressor. You won't be able to see it from here, but that engages the pulley, the magnetic pulley. So you want to unclip that until you add refrigerant in the system, because there's a still slim chance that it engages when on startup, and you don't want that to happen, as it will ruin your new compressor. And yeah. As you can see, it's all back put together. The new AC compressor, the new line, nothing's leaking, and it's ice cold, and it doesn't make a loud grinding noise anymore. As you can hear, no loud noises, and it doesn't smoke anymore either, so that's good. See, temperature is ice cold now. No more needing to roll down the windows anymore. Thank you for watching.